What if I don't want?
Call this meeting to order and ask that you rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and again, welcome. Does anyone have any additions to the agenda? I actually don't tonight. Who said that? Yay.
I do, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
The Vernon tree lighting.
Okay, and that should be under
I guess new business.
new business. Okay, we did that. Anything else?
I wish I could.
If nothing else, I would entertain a motion to add this.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any more discussion? If not, I
Look
can't
at
do
your
this.
cheat sheet.
I told her to write me up a cheat sheet, is that big enough for everybody? Anyway, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. And I have no remarks tonight, I mean, if you all don't believe that. It's true, I don't. Anybody with opening remarks?
No.
No, Rhonda, no, you've
No.
let me down.
Well, I have a place on the agenda later,
Okay,
so I'm there.
all right, then we will begin with the Windham County Sheriff's Department, Chief Clark, Lieutenant Anderson. Yes, I see that, boy, you didn't go very far.
You're coming to buy donuts.
Sandy, did you like some?
They're really, really good.
They're really good, see, I ate part.
They're on that side of the table, so I'm not tempted.
Open sesame.
Oh my God.
I would love to.
Okay, and everybody's got a copy of the contract? All right, let's, is there anything new? We'll start with you, and then we'll go to the select board for questions.
When I sent this over, and the reason I asked Mark to be here is because he actually helped put this together along with the numbers, and we also have a spreadsheet showing, basically times a day, when it's the busiest, least busy, so we can talk about how we might work the 20 hours versus 24-hour day. When we put this together, without having had a chance to really sit with you to discuss how it would look, we thought it important to at least have a draft, something to start from. I'm sure you have some
Right.
questions, and we actually have
We
some
do.
potential alternatives.
Okay.
Because one of the things is when you talk about 20 hours a day, where are those 4 hours that you're not covering? We don't believe that we would want to schedule 4-hour blocks to say that there's never anyone on from 2 at night or 2 in the morning to 6 in the morning. In fact, when you look at the spreadsheet, it looks like the least busiest time of day is from like 6 to 8, most days of the week. And a lot of times at night when you're busy, it's proactive, it's the DUIs, it's those kind of things. But one of the options that Mark and I have talked about, instead of doing it by day, is that it comes out to about 608 hours a month that you would pay for. And then, so let's say the first month we did 600 hours of service. The other 8 would potentially carry over to the next month. And that way, every month, we would run the numbers for how many hours we put in, what did we do, and that might be a way to do it, instead of saying 20 hours a day, saying how many hours per month are you purchasing, and what that rate is. So, again, none of this was set in stone when it came to how we were gonna cover it. We thought it important to come and talk with you to see what your thoughts were.
Well, I do know that we have to go by what the people voted, and that was my only concern. But do you have a copy of that spreadsheet for us, so we could take a look at it, or?
I do,
But you don't have it for all of
no,
us right now? Okay,
no, but I certainly can email it over
Yes.
to you.
all right, that'd be great.
Well, I can take, when you get it, it'll look like this. It's DOW's day of the week. And so we took that out. So this is on average, so a 24-hour day, this is all days combined. So for the last year, the total number of calls was a little over 2,200 calls. So you see the bulk of the response times are between 7 in the morning and 7 at night, and the rest, of course, are according. And again, we can break those out if you want to know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, how many of those are like DUIs.
I don't think we wanna know actually when you're gonna be on and when you're not going to be. I don't think that'd be kinda crazy.
Well, I just had a thought overall on this subject, which I believe that the nature of setting your schedule and just how you go about doing that, I think I would like to leave that up to you folks. And eventually, I would prefer to see that randomized somewhat so that, in fact, people, especially people
Catch
who
on.
don't need to know this kind of thing and shouldn't know this kind of thing, don't know this kind of thing. I would think that in your hands, you should be able to randomize that. I certainly trust that we'll be getting our money's worth from you. And I would actually be opposed to getting involved in your scheduling so much
Yeah, that's.
as a select board member.
Yeah, so, yeah, after you started talking again, I kinda hit me too.
Well, we'll have people on call and respond to those 4 hours when we don't have someone out. And we believe how we'll schedule it, there'll be someone else in the area anyway. So we're not necessarily call out, but if for some reason it worked out that they weren't on at 3 in the morning and we called out, our concern is if that too many call-outs happened, then we run the risk of being way over that 140 hours in a week. And just, that's could potentially concern, but looking at the numbers, we think we could probably manage that. The other thing we did change is how we bill it. Instead of billing quarterly, we bill monthly. That's just because what we're finding is trying to, match up hours to the billing cycle. We're finding, we believe it'll be easier for us to match it month to month versus quarterly. It's more of a bookkeeping issue on our end, tracking issue.
Sandy, do you have anything? I think it's a good idea.
I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add?
Really, the only, with regards to the, how we establish hours, rather than saying 20 hours a day, part of the mindset behind doing, I think it comes out to 608 hours a month, is because we can't plan when emergencies are gonna happen. We don't know when people are gonna need the fire department and we respond to assist. We don't know when different things will happen. But what that will ultimately give us the ability to do is speak with the board before we start incurring any sort of hourly costs, to say, how do you want to approach this? We suspect that we did, say, 680 hours this month. Unplanned, we tried to manage that as best we can, but due to the events, there's nothing you could do. Do you want to carry some hours over from the remaining 11 months? Do you want to pay an hourly rate because we're in, say, month 11, and, well, if we cut out 80 hours, that's a fairly significant hit to a monthly schedule. So we think that that's a better way and a more secure way for the town to receive the same level of service and the board to stay informed, while it gives us the autonomy to say it's not necessarily gonna be 20 hours today, but it might be 22 hours tomorrow and 18 hours the next day, but you maintain the same level of coverage. So it gives us that autonomy that you spoke about, but it also gives the town a level of protection that we think is beneficial. So.
Yeah, sounds great. Go ahead,
I have a
Sandy.
question. When you have to go to court,
Yes,
do you schedule that in on regular hours, or would those be like additional hours?
we don't schedule court hours. The court tells us when we go.
Well, okay,
So
you get my question.
if a person is, it depends on the level of need that the court has. For example, traffic court, they schedule them in 30-minute blocks. We'll send a person who's on shift to traffic court. If they're not on shift, then we have that built into our hourly contract rate.
Okay.
So that's a built-in cost to ultimately our contract. We figure it's easier to work that in administratively than try and say, well, here's 6 minutes there, 18 minutes there, and 2 hours over here. In terms of, let's say it's a major investigation that requires a day, a week of court testimony, that's something we have to evaluate differently, and that might end up as a conversation with the board, like, hey, we have someone who's in court for a whole week. So the minimal things are built in, but when they become significant, that's a conversation.
Okay, thank you.
And we've seen very little, even though we've seen a significant increase in the number of criminal calls and arrests, we've seen very little court time associated with those. Which means either it's a strength of a case, where it's likely it's being pled out prior to a trial, or it's a case that after we brought the charge, the state's attorney just felt that it wasn't worth pursuing. But we're not seeing at this point, we are seeing an increase in the number of traffic tickets that we're adjudicating. But again, those are less than 30 minutes, so if we try to schedule people to be on duty, they go to traffic court and they're right back. But usually, chances are, there's another deputy already leaving traffic court, so they're in the area. If a call came up while the person was actually testifying in traffic court, the other deputy would just go, or I would come down and cover that call.
Thank you.
And again, that's no different than what we're already doing.
Emma?
I'm a little confused on this.
Perfect, we wrote it really well then. We like our contracts that way. No, just kidding.
An on-call hourly rate of $45 will be charged for the response to calls for service during on-call service hours. And then down below it says the town will not be charged a fee for on-call hours during which a deputy is on call but not on duty unless otherwise identified in this agreement. Maybe it's the on-call versus on duty that I'm just not.
Definitions are a key part here, and it might be something that we can improve, but essentially what we're saying is, outside of the scope of the, we'll talk in 20 hours, even though it sounds like we're in agreement about the 600-ish hours a month. If I'm on call for 20 hours, or on shift for 20 hours today, and then we have 4 hours, we're not charging you for the 4 hours that we're not actually on duty. So there's no bill for that. If we get called out and we can't flex those hours for some reason, we would bill the hourly rate. But by using the 608 hours and managing that schedule, we have a backup plan in case the board says, all right, we actually want to pay that, we'll take it out of the emergency capital fund or something like that. We want to pay that because we don't want to take a week off of coverage. A homicide might pull in 4 people. So that can be a big hit. It's an unexpected hit. I really, really hope that doesn't happen here in town, but it is an expense that might happen. And so this is the language that covers for those hours that the board says, you know what, it's above and beyond the normal scope of the contract, so we're gonna pay that. That's what the $45 is for, is to say we're gonna pay that as opposed to flex it into the schedule somewhere.
Actually, I have to say that $45 an hour was what our own police department used to charge for, like, when they were called out and stuff like that, so it hasn't increased any at all. It's a different company,
Just a question
police
on
department,
funding. I know the town voted for a certain amount of money at
Yes.
town meeting, but I'm assuming that somewhere there's contingency funds if we do have a homicide in town to cover those without having to go back to the town
Well, we
for
have,
additional
we do
funds.
have
right?
emergency, we have
Professional
emergency.
services or something like that?
We
yeah.
have lots of things like
Okay,
that, yeah.
right.
We have a place.
Even on your previous contracts, there was provision if it went over a certain number of hours, like we just couldn't manage it, or like a major event happened, there was a provision in there to pay the overtime rate. And if you go to page, I think it's page 5, paragraph 3N, it talks about if it's over a certain number of hours in a quarter. Like we've
Oh, yeah.
we've tried to flex it as much as possible. If we go over that, that's really where that billable time comes in. But I think because of this is, the only thing that's really changed in this contract as compared to the last 2 is just the number of hours. And, billing it monthly versus quarterly. But I still think it's gonna be very important, whether it's myself, Mark, or Sergeant Evans, coming in and say, for the first 30 days, this is how it looked. Because I think it's important that you see that.
Yes.
Versus us coming in, at least until we're all comfortable with the new look over the first month or 2, 3 months.
Yes,
I think that's gonna be
makes
very
sense.
important, that we were right at our target of 608, we're at 612, we were 60, whatever it may be. I think that's gonna be a critical piece for Sergeant Evans or one of us to come in and meet with you the first of every month, say, this is how the last month went.
Yeah, I would like that.
And so,
where would
Without
this go?
maybe, like you were saying, not necessarily getting into the nuances of the schedule, but how did the hours work out? That way we'll all be in agreement as to what our each will look like.
It'll be an opportunity for us when sometimes we don't hear that feedback that board members rightfully hear. And so somebody might be saying, hey, we're never seeing them at 2 in the morning. It's like, well, we haven't scheduled them at 2 in the morning, maybe we'll fix that.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity
Yeah.
for that line of communication to occur as well.
Can I also go back to the, God forbid, homicide? And we have to bring in extra you have to bring in extra people or something. Doesn't the state also come in as well?
If it was a homicide, we would turn it over to the state.
Right.
It may initially be a death investigation or an untimely death. There's 2 of us out of our office now that can respond. If it's me and I get there and I'm like, this clearly is a homicide versus a suicide or accidental death, we would call in the BCI, Bureau of Criminal Investigations, and they would then take the case from there. We don't have the resources to do that. We don't have the level of expertise to do a homicide. It looks really easy on television, 48 minutes, commercials, the case is solved. It could be 48 days of a lot of people.
Right.
And, let the people that do them. I've been involved in one homicide in 26 years. I'm hoping to go the rest of my career not be involved in another one.
Right.
But those, it's really more the ones, it could have been a natural disaster occurred, some other event occurred that really, no matter how much we try to manage it within those hours per month or per quarter, we just could not cover it. But then, chances are, if it was something major like that, some of those costs could be recouped, whether it's through FEMA, the state.
Right.
Again, it's all more important to make sure that we track what those hours are.
Absolutely.
But I would tell you, I've come down probably 3 times, 4 times in the last year to do untimely deaths. Sergeant Fellows has come down to do them. We don't charge you, that's, we provide that as part of it. It's not a separate charge, it doesn't go in. And that would be the same under this, it's sort of, we provide that as part of what we do.
Steve, yeah?
I guess the only thing is keeping us aware of how things are going.
Yeah,
Might
I like
also
that idea as
inform
well.
us as far as what we recommend to the town next year for budget. And if it looks like they're going over frequently, that it might then be recommended that we go back to the 168 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? So it will
Right.
help us when we're formulating our budgets to
Right.
know what to recommend to the town.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
But as far as I would reiterate my earlier statement that I think it's very important that you folks set your schedule as you see fit without us interfering with
Yeah.
that.
And, okay, Josh?
I don't have any questions.
We probably won't sign this tonight. We'd like to probably vet it through the attorney if you don't mind. And make sure that we are understanding what we're doing.
Would you like a little clarification around that on-call piece?
Yes.
Okay,
We would.
Mark's.
Yeah, maybe a section of definitions.
Yep, we can
Yes.
probably blend
Or
those two.
adding it to it or whatever. I've got just kind of a follow-up comment. Because this did go specifically, to townspeople for vote, and they said, X amount of dollars and 20 hours a day. Like, I'm okay with the, doing it by month, cause some weeks maybe, you get a snowstorm and that week is heavier than another week. I totally get that, but, I don't know how bound we are by that particular, was that vote a dollar amount, or
Yes.
it was a dollar amount, not a
Yes, it was,
day?
for level of
Right,
service that the sheriff proposed.
So I'm just, like, I don't know how much that vote limits,
Well, you
You know,
can't spend,
whether
under this
it's-
contract, you can't spend more than, that, what you were,
well, that's kinda what I'm getting at, if the townspeople voted, it would have to come from some other place than if they went, if you guys went over on hours or dollars, because, I get that you have language that covers your office, if you have some big event and you go over, you've got a rate structure in place, but I don't know how authorized we are to spend over that because the town specifically voted on it.
we're not. We
Well,
cannot spend a dime over that
And we don't have to
230.
either, we can drop the level of coverage for a month or whatever to make up that
And
time.
that's what he said he would.
Whether
he
it
would
be,
do.
you know, a couple hours a day for a month or 2 months, however, you know, we determine that it works out to keep within budget.
Well, but I think we also have to be aware that there may be circumstances whereby that, that's not gonna be possible if you
That's
have a
right.
catastrophe or
Yeah.
whatever. And then what we have to do is go
Right.
back to townspeople
Right.
and ask them for more money in this budget.
I guess my concern though is that, you know, if we go, you know, if we're consistently going over the 608 a month, and we'll make it up next month, or we'll make it up in the following month, we'll make it up in the following month, and then all of a sudden you're, you know, facing scheduling for month 12, and we're gonna have, you know, 100 hours of coverage because that's all we've authorized, and now we're forced to, so, it's just a little bit of a concern of mine. I'd like to see how it works, because it's the first time we're doing, you know, not full 24 hours. So, I mean, the monthly reporting back of, you know, how many hours you incurred is,
But this is not the
definitely.
first time we have a fixed amount. I mean, that was fixed last year too.
but it
Right.
was for 24-hour coverage.
Well, exactly, but we knew even last year that I mean, the contract that you all signed last year had
Said the same
these
thing.
escalating costs in it, right?
Yes.
But there was
Yes.
never a period of no one being on duty. That's
Yeah, but what I'm saying is these additional costs were always a possibility if there was something extraordinary that occurred. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't address it
I'm not really
now.
talking, it's not so much the extraordinary, it's just the volume of the ordinary, that's all.
Well,
Having
that would
managed,
be extraordinary in my opinion.
Hey,
having
Go ahead.
managed schedules that are less than full-time on a fairly lengthy basis, my concern is not that we are going to cruise past 608 on a regular basis. This, in the same words, a lot of this language is to protect from the extraordinary, protect our office from the extraordinary, I should say. But it still follows the mindset that the town of Vernon is a customer of ours. We don't wanna come to a select board meeting saying,
Right.
you owe us this much money.
Right.
It's bad business. So there is, language in there, that does protect us, but we're also doing this to protect the town. And if we have any reason to believe that it's going to do that, we're gonna have that conversation way sooner than we are
Right.
than month
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
The other thing, and this is just a comment of my own, is that I would suggest talking to the attorney with regard to, the vote on the article, because ultimately it was under a budget article, and he might give guidance as to what constraints the town has, in terms of that,
I
but.
already have.
Okay, so, and any guidance that he can give when you vet this through, in terms of that, because I certainly respect the concern and the desires of the voters, it's a question of, as to whether their intent was to spend a dollar amount or an hour
It was,
amount, and so.
It was both.
And that's where it
according to
becomes
him.
confusing,
There was
and we're asking you that question,
There was a dollar amount
so.
up on the screen and the hour amount that went with that dollar amount, and the town voted for that. So we have to stick to that, but we do understand this other part, I mean, it's been there before.
Even though we're going from a 24-hour coverage to a 20-hour coverage, it's really not that dissimilar from what we were doing before. There were many days where we put in more than 24 hours. Either it was overtime or you had extra staffing down here, and we were able to manage that. To my knowledge, we didn't send you any bill above and beyond those quarterly bills in the last 2
I
years.
don't think so.
We did not.
Again, it's more for that catastrophic, and chances are then there would be an emergency meeting. How do we recoup that funds? No different than when Irene came through. We did a lot of work for a lot of towns, and most of that money was recouped. But, you know, one of the things they looked at was, do you have a contract in place, and what are the provisions in regard to those extra hours? So this actually protects you that way, because they will ask, where's the documentation say you had to pay this? Well, it's right here. And it's a good question.
Yep. So, if you don't have anything more, I think that we're all set. Steve, you have anything else?
No, nothing else, and
Josh?
certainly we'll be working with you on this as we go forward.
Sandy? Okay.
And we will email over to you a new draft with some changes to the language in regard to the on-call, call-out.
Okay.
And if you have any other questions.
Now, what I think that we'll do is we'll vet this through the attorney, I'll do it right away, and then maybe for the next meeting, or the meeting, what do you wanna wait? We can't wait too long, because
No,
it's
no, I
coming up.
understand June is coming, but the thing is that the attorney may have a schedule too that we have to work with. and-
Oh, absolutely. So
And,
do you think maybe the first meeting in May would be a good time? Would that be a good time for you? That would
Good
be
target.
the second, May
That's
2nd.
fine.
Okay. Is it okay with you?
Yeah, the only, I was like,
What were
trying to,
you-
just May 5th is my anniversary.
Oh.
Ah, well,
As much as I love
congratulations.
coming down here, my wife's not gonna be pleased, but,
Oh.
actually, I'm thinking, I'm teaching
the
that night, so we're
second.
leaving the next day.
Oh, okay,
Go away.
it's the second. So. All right, so May 2nd, we'll put you on.
For the record, please note, I know when my anniversary is, I also know when our birthday is.
Okay.
How can you forget Cinco de Mayo?
That's, I blame Jose Cuervo for the fact that I got married.
I was always the one in my marriage, I forgot
It
when we
will
got
be
married.
32 years in May, and I keep telling people I've been
Congratulations.
happily married for 11, she just has to figure out which 11.
Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
She's heard it all before.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, Police Department flooring. Kevin, would you like to come up? We got a couple of things on here. You may not have it all, but. Hi, Kevin.
How are you?
I had you come in tonight because the Sandy and I were walking by, we discovered the flooring, and since then, I guess a couple of the other board members have seen it. But our concern was carpet on there, because they had carpet before, and it held in that moisture and damaged quite a bit. That was
Molded.
years ago.
Mold.
Mold, yeah, contained a lot of mold and stuff in there. And then, that was one of the concerns. And, but you have some options for us.
Well, I think that was also prior to when they dug out around the building
Yes, it was.
and resealed it. Excuse me. Because prior to the digging out, we used to have a perpetual leak by the evidence office.
Yes.
And that,
See, I knew you'd remember that.
the evidence office, and then down by the elevator, at the base of the elevator. That's where that problem came into. But by fixing that, and dredging that out, and sealing it, and doing all that other stuff, hopefully that's been resolved. If it hadn't been resolved, this problem with this floor would have come up a lot sooner than it did. If there was a perpetual problem like that, this would have been, we would have been in trouble a long time ago. So I'm confident that that problem
That
has
problem
been
is
taken
fixed.
care of. And with regard to the different possibilities, I like the carpet idea. If you look at the carpets upstairs, they were put in 2010, so they're 6 years old. They still look pretty good, and there's a lot more traffic upstairs than there would be in the police department.
And I'm just gonna throw something in there right now, where you're talking about that's what you prefer. I can't remember which police officer was mentioning it to me, but he said something about the bodily
I were
fluids
there
and stuff
together,
like
yeah.
that they can't control, and then they have to clean it up.
And and the other thing too is these days, you have to be careful about certain bodily fluids that, may contain other things. And I'm sure they're concerned about that in the police department. And that was a question that even, I guess I would propose as being something we need to answer,
Yeah.
You have someone bleeding on the floor, or vomit and that sort of thing that can occur. I mean, they don't have always sober people in there, and, I myself, and when I was in law enforcement, there was number of times we had to
Bronna,
dig
why
out
don't
the
you
back of
step
the
up so I
cruiser.
don't
you know.
forget
Yeah.
you?
Oh, yeah. Been there, done that.
I guess the other thing with Chris and I visited there are some other options beside these highly polished floors that could be used in there. They have a two-part coating that they can spray on the floor now that is really extremely durable, low maintenance, doesn't need wax. We used it over at the plant in a number of high-traffic areas. You can also roll very heavy equipment over the top of it, and that might be another factor that would actually cut down on your actual having to do a lot of maintenance there. It might be easier for you. Is what I was thinking.
Yeah, because that was the question with the tile, is the maintenance, because
Right.
it's not like out in,
Right.
out in this room
Sure.
or out in
Oh, I
this room
can
when I
tell.
can just move
I can
everything
tell
out.
there, and certainly, we'd like to look, or at least I personally would like to see something that was low maintenance for you. The other thing is accessibility, and they're, may be limited if they are working with people, as far as, gaining entry at the right time.
Yeah.
And with a carpet, time is of the essence usually.
Mhm.
The quicker you can get in and get it cleaned up, the better. And I think they're also concerned about having to clean a carpet too. It's more difficult than a smooth floor surface for
Right.
them. There may be times that they have that challenge and you're not available to.
Right.
Okay to take a question from the audience?
Sure.
Go ahead, Ronna.
As someone who is marginally allergic to dust and dog, and I work in pottery, but I would be more concerned about carpeting. And I don't know how many people come in here who have allergies, but carpeting is not something, it holds allergens much more. So personally, I would say the floor, but you have to balance it. I recognize that, but I would have a concern about allergies for people coming in here.
Are you gonna get picked up for DUI and go in there?
Heck no.
Oh, good. No, I'm kidding, I'm playing. I'm kidding,
I
but
don't
you
go
are
that
correct
fast.
with the allergens.
I'm a little old lady.
My father used to be very highly allergic to carpet. Yep, go ahead.
Could we just back up a little bit? I know, what was the cause of the flooring issue, and has it been remedied?
There's a small valve, I'll call it, for lack of better terms. There's one over here in the corner also. And what happened, it had become loose,
Okay,
and that started leaking.
okay.
And then.
So it was a plumbing issue,
Yeah.
not a, because I thought it happened like when we had a whole lot of rain one time, but
No.
it wasn't
Well-
that, it was,
The problem you're talking about with the whole lot of rain, in years back,
Yes.
yeah,
was when we had the problem by the elevator and the evidence locker.
right,
And
But
that
that's
has
been-
since been resolved.
right.
But the problem that we just had
Yeah.
was a plumbing
It was a
problem.
plumbing issue.
Yeah, plumbing, heating, whatever you
Yeah.
want to
Okay.
consider it.
Okay.
I spoke with Mr. Damian. I left a call for him to find out about the stains in the rug and to find out if they were like Scotch guarded to keep the, stuff from sinking in.
Oh, yeah.
As yet, I haven't gotten a call back from him.
Do we have an extractor? Do we
Yes.
own one? We have one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and also you said that in case something got, you had found like square pieces that could be like a tile, but they were actual carpet and
We-
they could be removed one at a time instead of a
Yeah,
full
we
carpet.
can either go Damian's provided me with carpet tiles, which means that you can, take out a small section and replace it. And then also the carpet that you would, like this, that you'd roll out.
I guess the thing that I really think we ought to look into as well is some sort of non-carpet type flooring that does not have to be kept in a high glaze like that. Like, I'm looking out there and I can see almost my
Yeah.
reflection through here.
I know, it's
But that can
done
be,
nice job,
that
Kathy.
is non-skid, because it's always nice to have a good surface to grip with, especially if you're struggling with people. And additionally, that can be just mopped up quickly and cleaned and then it's done.
Yeah.
And for that type of service over there, and I know that it would be, and everything, those are cement floors in there.
Yes.
And this material that I'm speaking of can be sprayed onto solid cement surface. And I've even seen them use it in garages, you know, where you have high surface
Oh,
vehicles.
they
and so
spray it
forth.
on?
Sprayed on, right.
Oh, that's kinda neat.
It's a two-part process, and the finished product is a slightly roughened surface, so it's not slippery, and it's really nice stuff. We have a lot of it in the plant, over at the nuclear plant.
I like the idea of the epoxy for the ease of maintenance reason, and, you know, that way we're not tearing out carpet. You know, even if it's just carpet squares, it's still a pain in the neck to do and glue back down. And that two-part epoxy, they use it in garages all the time, we sell it at the store.
Yeah.
So it has either a sand or it has a metallic flake in it for the grip and the grip within the epoxy. And it's a fairly quick application too, so.
It is.
Is it something that, like, Kevin could do, or do you have to have an
No.
installer come?
Yeah,
You'd have to have somebody.
you could,
Which one?
Kevin could do it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a lot of
I didn't
people
know
just
if you
roll
had
it
to
onto the
roll it
floor. I
out.
mean, you can get it in gallon jugs and roll it out, and then you go back through while everything's still wet and sprinkle the
Oh.
traction agent over top of the wet paint, and then it, you know,
Yeah.
And
dries.
once it hardens, it's like, I mean, I've seen them roll breakers that weighed 3,000 pounds over this thing. The breakers had steel wheels on them, it didn't cut into the stuff, so it's really durable.
You know, I wouldn't wanna do it myself, but,
I like the idea.
yeah, I did too.
Yeah, my concern is being able, it's very difficult to disinfect a carpet.
And I'm with Brana with the allergens. Come on up. Stranger.
A simple question, and I don't know the answer to it, is how will it affect the heat in the room if you go to the basic concrete floor, which is basically the pad? So I think that's you
That's
guys,
an
that's,
yeah, that's
none of us
right.
know the answer
Well,
as to
what-
whether that room will be easy to maintain for warmth, as we know this one is.
Yeah, that's a good question,
Well,
thank you.
from my experience with this, those floors out there, the tile floors are as thermally conductive, or have the same thermal conductivity, because it's very thin,
I just love his dog.
organic material in the surface, probably almost the same thickness as the spray down coating. You'd probably have similar behavior to what you have out in those outer rooms. Because I imagine they're all heated to the same degree. I wouldn't want necessarily children, right, although it's a good flooring for children because they don't slip on it.
Each room, I think, has its own thermostat, but
Yeah,
even still,
and
it
it's all
still
baseboards,
warms up.
yeah.
I mean, if you warm that, if you turn the heat up in that room,
Yeah.
it warms up the
Yeah.
tiles, correct?
I would
Yes.
think it would work.
And what's been in there has been a laminate flooring anyway, directly
Well,
with
they had the
the concrete.
Bamboo
bamboo
flooring.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was that thick laminate,
Yeah.
cheap hardwood flooring kind of thing, right?
I don't think it was cheap, but.
Wow.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You have to understand where I work to understand that cheap flooring.
Might not been cheap to the town, but it's
Yeah.
used to get it.
But yeah, so that doesn't really provide any significant thermal break either, that type of flooring, so I don't think we're gonna gain or lose much in that, and if we put carpet in, you probably would gain, but then you have the maintenance factor, so you gotta kinda weigh the option there.
So we don't need go ahead with the motion if you feel we need one, or just a consensus for him to go ahead with that kind of a flooring that you
You mean with
suggested.
carpet or?
No, with
Oh, with
what
the other,
you're-
well, I think we need to look into the possibility. I'm not
Have him come
driving
back
him.
then?
Well, would
maybe?
that be a problem to come back to us and tell us what you found with this stuff? Is it doable? Would you have to have a professional do it? Could you do it yourself? That kind of thing. I mean, you wouldn't think about, you're not gonna lay carpet yourself here, are you?
No.
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 But also
I wouldn't
the-
be opposed to having someone who does this
No,
professionally.
I wouldn't
come
either.
in.
I would prefer somebody to come
But the
in.
thing
Because-
that's nice with it is it's probably something that, you know, in my lifetime will never have to be replaced again.
Right,
Also, another thing we need to take into account is I'll need to contact VLTC on this, because this is an insurance project.
yeah, but they pay an amount,
Yeah,
but they don't say what you have to put in. If the floor was worth 2,000 and they gave us 2,000, but the floor that we wanna put in is 3,000, we just pay over and above with it. I don't think they have any say in what kind of a flooring to put in.
they do to an extent. They said not not that bamboo flooring again.
Yeah, I
They flat out said
wouldn't
no on
expect that, but,
so.
I mean, I wouldn't expect that they would, but I don't know.
I'll check on just,
Yeah, oh,
So you
definitely
do
check
that.
with them,
Yeah.
but I don't see how they could.
The only other thing that I'm thinking about for the epoxy flooring is that there was some kind of tile underneath that bamboo, right?
Yes,
So that has to come up, which exposes glue, which is stuck to the concrete. And that glue would have to be removed in some way, shape, or form for that
Now,
epoxy to
the
be
glue's on
able to
top of
form.
the tiles that were there, right?
I
well,
think
there's
it's
glue,
underneath
the
it, too.
tile, and then,
Yeah.
Oh, then the glue,
Then
glue
there's
to
tile.
the, right, to the
That's
concrete.
glued to the
Yeah.
concrete.
Oh, yeah, that's a big
But
And
it's all,
project.
it's all doable.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
it just
think
has to be
that-
sanded off and.
Have the time to do
Well,
that.
yeah, but
Well,
that's
well.
the time.
Well, I wasn't suggesting, I would think you'd want to have that professionally
Absolutely, I
done.
Yeah.
agree.
He doesn't have
Explosive.
time to be putting a floor.
Yeah.
why would you have to?
No, I mean, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
That's what I was
you're
wondering.
swamped here.
Why would you
Yeah.
have to take the old stuff off, just spray over it?
Two different reasons. One is that you would have inconsistencies in the paint, essentially.
Okay.
You'll see every drop
Yeah,
of glue that
right,
was on there.
right.
And
Okay,
two,
that's
it
it.
may not adhere to the concrete
Yeah.
and the glue the same. So it's possible
okay.
that the flooring would chip, that epoxy would chip away from that glue.
That's
you.
why we're select
So-
board members and not maintenance people.
You need,
Yeah,
you need
sure.
concrete.
Yeah, absolutely. So, maybe,
Concrete.
because you were talking to Don Jr., right?
mhm.
I would question Don about that, because obviously he has some flooring knowledge, and it may be something that he's willing to do. I don't know whether he has any knowledge of it or not. It's very possible that he does, so you
Yeah.
might want to question him about that.
Yeah,
I shall.
yeah. All right, so then we'll put Kevin on the next agenda then.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to get it done as soon as we can.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure Kevin would too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Let's see,
Saves
so
cleaning.
April
18.
18th. Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Sure.
I have a calendar right in front of me, I never look, I forget to look.
It's buried.
There it is, see? Good grief. All right, Kevin, thank you. And the next project? Storeroom specs, did you get them, the fire specs as well?
To tell you the truth, I don't know if this is what you're looking for or not. You said spec out the room, you can pass those out.
Well, I think what we wanted was like the fire code stuff and that, and then wasn't you, Josh, that said that you would have like the, then get a hold of like Perkins and Leader and all them, and they would find people and put
Okay,
their specs out kind of deal?
That would be the next step.
Okay.
This is basically what I have for you this evening.
Okay.
When you said spec it out, what I did was I went back and looked at like the foyer construction, and basically took hints from that as to what you folks may be looking for. And this is what I came up with. Basically, it's a project description
Oh, yes, very good,
and,
thank you.
and details of it. I did get a hold of Steve Dumont, the state fire marshal, and I did have some questions regarding, you know, the 1 hour fire safety as far as, you know, some of the construction aspects of it. And he did get back to me, and that's under the project details. That's mostly what he provided there.
Oh, Well,
But
this is
again,
great, Kevin.
Again, some of that is taken, you know, from the foyer project.
Mm-hmm.
And then speaking with Steve Dumont, I came up with the rest of it. I think if what you're looking at is like maybe the next step or the next step after that, if you're looking for it to go out to bid. You know, that's like.
yes, that's what we would,
Yeah, I do not have that available right now.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, that's
not
fine,
on the program.
yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, just a question on this, is this, this file storage would be for like paper files and microfiche and that kind of thing, is that what we're talking about, or?
Yeah, the overage files from the town clerk's office
Okay,
was
all
the
right.
main reason why we're building the storage. And
Right,
there's
right.
storage upstairs, treasurer's papers and stuff like that that need to come down as
Right,
well.
and is this,
And get under,
Can I say something?
yeah, come up to the thing.
Chris, this is the first I've heard about my stuff going downstairs. That's in that side room. I mean, someone told me that it had been discussed, but I didn't know. But, the problem is, I use that stuff a lot. I have people call that want a copy of old tax bills. I have people that wanna know, can you
Well, I
look?
can understand it, but it's not fire safe right as it stays in that room. That's the
The
thing,
only
was
thing
to be.
is I'm not always gonna be able to go downstairs and leave my office unattended. I don't
No,
have a
that's true.
full-time
Right.
person working with me.
Right.
So
Do we wanna make that room fireproof too?
Well, I don't know how much
I mean,
we're
we
talking
have
about for
to.
volume, but there are other options besides a whole room. There are fire
Oh,
rated
Yeah, didn't we
vault,
just get one?
portable
BY?
vaults.
yeah,
or-
that went to the
cabinets.
town clerk's office, yes, we did.
that's my only problem, is that I'm not always gonna have the ability to run downstairs and
Right.
get stuff for people.
Understand that.
I have people
Yeah,
that
no,
come
I
and say, can you get me
totally get that.
3 years worth of tax bills? I can go and get them right out of that room.
Then we ought to think about something fireproof for you too, because those files, you can leave them there, but if we had a fire in here, they'd be all gone.
I
And
know.
then you wouldn't
But, you know.
be able to get them.
Well, I think we need to,
We need to look at this.
take a step back from it and,
Yeah.
and
I agree.
if somebody comes into your office and needs something and you can't get there because Sally's not there, you need to tell them, I'll get it to you tomorrow, I'll get it to you in a couple hours, or whatever the case may be. I mean, we have the option to send things via email,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing. So I don't think we need to get up in arms and do a whole nother construction of another
Oh.
storage area.
That was my idea, wasn't
Over-
It wasn't my idea to
You know.
reconstruct anything.
Yeah.
My,
I'm just,
my files have been in that room forever, since I've
Yes.
been here. I mean,
Yeah, but it's always been a
But-
concern of the select board
but
that
they
it-
they shouldn't
right.
be. They need to
Right,
be
I
in
understand
a
that. I just
fireproof room
wanted
that
you,
that
I just wanted
preserves
you
the.
to be aware
Yeah.
that that becomes an issue. I mean, I have people come in that do title searches and need
Sure.
stuff. I have people come in that wanna, can you pull a bill out that we paid in 2012? Cause I wanna see,
Yep.
you know, so,
I think we have to,
like I said, I don't
Just
have a full-time,
just a minute.
assistant anymore, so I don't have someone there that can, and I hate to close my office and be downstairs for a period of time, because then if people come, I'm not there. That's,
Well, I think it can be worked out, but I do think it's very important that those papers are under fireproof. But
Well, there are other solutions besides a whole fireproof room too. I don't know volume-wise what you have, but there are fireproof cabinets that work
Well, that's
very
what I
well.
was-
They're
that's
1
what I
hour
had said
rated
earlier,
and,
yep.
and that might be an option in your situation that would give you access right in your
Right.
area.
Yeah, because VY just gave, not more than a month ago, to the town clerk's office, a fireproof safe. Maybe they have another one they would like to give away, that you know, could go for you. That's an option. Go ahead.
Needs to be looked at.
Is that being utilized, Tim?
Madam Chairman, yes, it
Yes.
is. We are in the process of cataloging the latest microfiche we got back and putting those in the new fireproof safes.
All right, let me ask you this. Once we get our fireproof room done down here, is there a possibility to move those records so the town treasurer could have that safe?
There's always a possibility.
Okay.
Thank you, Cindy. I mean, you walked away, we didn't thank you for your thoughts. Go ahead. If you want to talk, come up so I
No,
remember you.
Josh, actually,
No, if you want to talk, come to the microphone. Thank you.
Kat's not here, so she won't remember stuff.
Right.
actually, Josh pointed it out perfectly. With, you need to take a step back, look at the whole thing. You know, if she has to close her office for 5 minutes to go downstairs, that should be fine. It happens everywhere else around other towns.
Yeah.
Or she has to put them off for a couple hours or so. I mean, it's not a rush to do that stuff. You
Yeah.
know, maybe the people are in a rush.
Well, sometimes
but-
she explained that sometimes she could put them off. And, but then there are times where like they come in for a title search or somebody's at her window and needs it right at that moment. That's when she needs it available and can't lock the door and go away.
I think that though we need to step back, take a look at this.
Yeah.
There may be solutions right in front of us that are easy to implement, convenient for everybody, and would fill the bill, and may not cost a whole lot.
Yeah.
You start getting into architectural changes to the building, that's gonna run you some money. Whereas, you know, a set of portable cabinets or whatever may be less expensive.
We're still gonna go with the storage,
Yeah,
the
no, I
fireproof
understand that.
storage, right?
What I'm
Okay.
saying, yes, but I
Alright.
mean, as far as like Cindy's situation,
Yeah.
it may,
'Cause
there
we
may
have
be
to look
some
at
solution there.
That's been an ongoing situation since way back for the board. Go ahead, Sandy.
What if you were to put the rolling shelves in like we have in the town clerk's vault? I mean, we more than doubled that vault space by having those roller shelves and put them in the vault down here.
Put what in the vault down here?
The roller shelves, when you go into the vault upstairs,
We looked into that, and I can remember a certain town clerk didn't like that idea. I'm kidding.
no, but
Sandy.
seriously, it seems like that vault is rated for 2,500 degrees, I believe.
I know, but we got a new room coming, because this one wasn't big enough according to what was told to us, correct?
Well, we were
I mean-
told that they needed additional space to get the things out of the room upstairs that are in the room upstairs.
Yes.
And
But
Okay,
that's the treasurer's
maybe we
room.
don't need the extra room.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe we don't need the
Well,
extra room, I don't know. What
wasn't
about the
part
town
of-
clerk? Because
wasn't-
that's the one, just a minute, please. Was how, does the town clerk still feel you need room? Please come up.
To tell you the truth, Madam Chairman, I haven't taken the time to properly evaluate that. If it's your direction that the treasurer and I get together and do some further evaluation of that, that's what we'll do.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I thought part of, and I haven't walked around upstairs to see what needs to be moved and whatnot, but I thought part of this was to open up space for a town administrator's office.
Yeah.
Wasn't that kind of where, like, wherever this storage is that was gonna come downstairs, isn't the current space that it's in where we were thinking the town administrator might have their
I
office?
don't think we were even, I didn't remember discussing that at
I
all.
thought that was kind of what prompted this whole thing, was, well, if we're hiring a town administrator, they need an office.
Oh, see, I
And-
wasn't paying attention to that. I thought it was because the town clerk had so many old files that needed more room other than this down here.
Yeah.
And maybe Sandy's suggestion is correct, just get rolling files down here and so you'd have more room in this one and maybe not go with another room. I mean,
Well,
what's that, I mean, would you like to talk about this more and just put this room on hold for now?
I think we need to do some research, certainly,
I
yes.
think we do, because I don't wanna upset the apple cart. If the town clerk, cause it was under my opinion, or my assumption was, what I believed was happening was that the town clerk needed more room up there to, now, I do know that Cindy's stuff was mentioned as well, because, you know, because she has such a lot of stuff in that room, and it's not fireproof, and we didn't wanna lose those,
No, of course
those files. And so that was the reason why we went with this room, but if we don't need this room, I think that we just, like you said, stop and sit on it and think about it a little bit
Well, let's-
more
and actually actively assess what our needs are.
Yeah, and I'll go in, I'll
Come up
talk
with a
with the
list
town
and then
clerk
do
and the
it.
treasurer and Kevin
and the listers too, maybe?
and, well,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what
Well, they did a
steps-
lot of, shredding, and stuff, you know, a year or so ago. So, a lot of files got taken care of at that time, but,
But some
just a minute,
files,
Ronna.
some files that are on the disposition orders, you have to keep forever.
Yeah, 25
you know,
years and plus.
And, you know, the ones before that, some of them do have historical significance and they shouldn't be destroyed.
Right, I agree.
Some of them, who cares, you know, like, we had a former treasurer long before Chris's time, that when we got his stuff,
Well, I was there a long,
I was
long
way
time ago.
before you, he had, used adding machine tape and used the back of the adding machine tape, and he had kept every piece of adding machine tape.
Oh
We
my
did not
goodness,
keep
yes,
that.
well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar, I'm not as familiar or knowledgeable about, you know, what has to stay, what is
A
considered
lot
permanent
has to
records and
stay.
what
The
not.
state has a list.
Right, but, I would expect those who are in the necessary positions would have the knowledge of what needs to stay. So I think we need to step back and look at, amongst all of our offices here, who has what documents need to be in a fireproof, in a vault, what needs
Yes,
to go
absolutely.
where. And then just throwing it out there, I would also suggest that I certainly understand Cindy's need to be able to pull documents and not being able to come downstairs. And I don't know what our capacity is. I know we've scanned a lot of the town clerk records. I don't know what options we have to scan, even if it's just,
A lot of the
into
treasurer's records are
Adobe.
scanned as well.
Right.
So that's what I was thinking was, if all or most of the documents were
A lot of the older
scanned.
ones that are now down in the vault had been scanned. Those aren't the ones, mine are, things I have upstairs are in like years, not too, like 4 years ago.
Right, but I guess what I'm thinking is, if we were to scan an index, even if it was just as PDF, and then we could move the documents into a fire-safe room or cabinet or whatever that was down here, one, it would open up probably a lot of space in your room, but then you'd have an electronic version that you could retrieve.
But we no longer have the money to do the scanning. That stopped.
Well, that's something
But
we need to
I
look
don't
into.
know.
I'm gonna stop the back and forth. Go ahead, Ronna, so.
I would second Tim's idea of Cindy and the town clerk getting together, the treasurer and the town clerk getting together. But I would also add, we have a new person coming on, the administrator. Perhaps that person, if they come from a place of having done this before, would have some ideas. I think going back and doing research, going back to the drawing board is an excellent idea.
Thank you. I won't pick on you this time, because that joke I kind of bombed the last time, so I'll let it go.
They didn't get it.
Good. Yeah, so is that the pleasure of the board to let it set for a while and
Well,
let
not
us
let it
not
set, but
No.
get started on a true inventory, take some action. Don't
Alright.
let it fester in the
Well, what I'll
corner,
do is
you know.
I can't tomorrow, but perhaps on Wednesday or Thursday, what I can do is I'll come in and talk with Kevin and the town clerk and the treasurer, and let's see if this is what's needed. We'll go around and we'll talk about it and see what we can do. And then I'll
Good,
put it
good.
down in an email for you guys,
Good,
and
good.
does that sound okay?
Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, we have a new regime that needs to decide what needs to go
Yes,
where.
absolutely, I agree with you.
And if we can save the town money by not doing an extra room, that's phenomenal.
And the seniors would be very happy.
And the seniors would be very happy.
Senior room isn't the only place you can do it. It's the only way.
Well, it would, because that's what the select board had voted prior to, so that's, that could be up for discussion, but, I don't go from one board to another to make different decisions, because the decision's already been made. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll go in this week and talk with, Cindy and Tim and, Kevin, and let's get this done. I'll let you know at what time. I have a meeting, or I have to meet abatement, is it? Abatum? Exterminators
Oh.
for, at the EOC, so on Wednesday at noon, so maybe at 1 or something, I could come on Wednesday. Would that be okay?
Yeah, just email us.
I will. All right, very good, thank you, and
you.
thank the board for that, that's good thoughts. Good thoughts, good thoughts. Thank you very, very much, Kevin.
Thank you, have a good evening.
Yes, and great information, thanks a lot. All right, cemetery deeds, town clerk?
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Oh, thank you.
One of the things that so far in my tenure have been the most frustrating and the most educational at the same time has been cemeteries. With the aid of Selectboard Vice Chair Harris, we have 2 cemetery deeds to present to you tonight for signature.
Okay, great.
One would be for Dale and Brenda Merritt for cemetery space within the Tyler Cemetery. The other for Leon and Susan Cobb for space within the North Cemetery. and I would present those to you for action.
All right. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chairman, I move that we accept these deeds as written and sign them and put them into the register.
And that's...
Is that, I've never
that-
done this before, but if
Yep.
that's what you need.
All right, yep. Need a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Motion's been made and seconded to accept the, and sign the cemetery deeds for Dale and Brenda Merritt, Leon and Susan Cobb, as written. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Okay,
I will pass those on to you, Madam Chairman.
all right, very good.
And await your signatures.
All right, thank you. Let's start with Steve and then come this way.
Surely.
How's that?
Very good.
Thank you. I will sign these myself and also pull a couple of volunteers out of the crowd for their signatures for witnesses.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much, Tim. Thank you.
I wasn't looking.
Okay, might as well continue. Chief? David? Come on up.
That's you.
That's you. Well, we have two Chief Tapens.
I'm gonna, well, he did, John did all
I-
the legwork,
Okay, please.
so he's gonna do all the talking.
You know, what is it tonight that nobody wants to laugh?
We're all so serious here because you've set the tone that way,
Oh, I did?
Madam Chair.
been a long
Okay, sorry.
Snowing
Because you
outside.
know I'm not like
Yeah,
that.
no, of course not, but for purposes of the meeting, of course you
Yes,
are.
of course.
Besides, you have that mallet over there, I don't know.
It's Josh that's afraid of Alex.
It should be.
Please, go ahead, JJ, thank
I
you.
apologize, I would have had everything together for you guys last week, but I was waiting on that third bid, which never did show up.
That's fine. At
So,
least you tried.
I have these two documents.
You have one for yourself?
Yeah. What we're trying to do is we have a portable pump right now that's on the brush truck that we, last year, had pulled out of service as a generalized used pump, portable pump that was on an engine and put it on the brush truck. In the midst of last year's brush season, we had some issues with the pump itself. It won't pump enough capacity to fill the hose lines properly.
It's on the new truck?
Nope, nope, it's on the
Oh, I
brush
thought
truck.
you just said the brush truck.
It's a brush truck.
Okay.
We've tried fixing it, we've tried doing things to it. The pump is maybe 1970s.
Do you have one for Katrina?
It's been around a while. It could be even later than 1970s pump.
Wow.
So,
Well, the truck is a '70s truck, right? So
Yeah.
it's probably original to the truck.
Well, no,
No.
that pump wasn't with that truck.
Okay.
We had taken it, it's, what we use is a portable pump to be able to pull, water out of cellars and stuff. And we had changed it from that and put it on the truck because we needed something more bigger for water volume, for brush fires than what we had. And last year it failed on us during a brush fire. So what we're looking to do is replace it, with a new pump, which I gave you the two bids we have here, which is one from Darley, with a price of Darley's price of $4,833.20, and that's without freight. And then we have the one from E1 to Sourcey, which comes from the manufacturer's actually out of Canada, but it's a company that's very well reputable in the United States as well for use. A lot of the departments buy the full setup, skid mount, tank, and pump together. We're just gonna buy the pump because we already have the tank. Their price is $3,999, and then it's gonna be estimated price of $150 for freight. The list price for that, for the pump from DeSourcy is $5,100. Our recommendation is to go with the one from DeSourcy. One, it's a local Vermont dealership that we're dealing with. And two, the price wise on it compared to the other one.
Garth Brooks at Comcast.net, I can't believe he got that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I met him, please wait, I got questions I wanna ask first, before you make your,
No, I wasn't making a motion.
oh, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So it appears that you've done work with this DeSourcy before?
Yes, he actually is the one we purchased our new engine from.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know, thank you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Emily, did you have it? Josh?
I do. I see on the one that you're recommending, there's a 3-year warranty. Do we know what the warranty is on the other
Roughly the
option?
same amount.
Okay.
Yeah, they're generally, right, even the other one that we looked at, which is a Hale, they're all 3-year
Okay.
warranties.
All right.
Steve, did you have any questions?
Not really, I'm not really expert in these kinds of things, but I know they're expensive.
Okay, so
But I
what
mean,
would,
this is a very low price considering what we're looking at.
so the price for, DeSourcy is $3,999.99 and 99.
And an estimate freight of 150, so it'd be,
4149.
yeah,
Okay, so it is cheaper, okay.
yeah.
And I do remember meeting Garth Brooks, so.
Less expensive, sounds better.
It does, what'd I say?
Cheaper.
Oh, yeah, good one. Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we accept the recommendation and purchase the pump through DeSourcy
Second,
for, sorry, what was it?
3999 plus freight.
Okay, $3,999 plus freight. Guess it changes.
And you seconded it?
Yeah.
Any discussion more on this? Josh? Sandy? Emily? You guys? Motion's been made and seconded to go with, the recommendation of the fire department, for DeSourcy in the amount of $3,999 plus freight. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Oh, no, wait a minute. Any noes? Okay, the ayes have it. I'm gonna get in the habit of saying that. Excuse me. And that's it. Anything else that you guys have?
No, I don't think so.
All is well? Have you heard back? We have not, I have not received a letter back from,
I had got an
from Bishop.
email confirmation we both got email confirmation from Jim,
That
that
they
both
did
appointments are set.
Okay, did the commissioner sign and?
That's what I'm assuming from the email I got.
Okay, so he'll send them a copy of that back to us.
I will
For our
make sure,
files.
yeah, I will email him and make sure that that's on its way.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you.
All right. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you for everything you do.
Stay warm. We'll
Stay
see you-
safe.
We'll see you Wednesday, I'll be at your meeting.
Okay.
I remember.
Good deal. Bring cookies.
You bring, how about donuts? We'll get Sandy
No,
to
no,
make
no, no,
donuts.
no donuts.
No donuts.
Cookies are much healthier.
Yeah, oh yeah. Especially ones with peanut butter chips and chocolate chips and all that. Fiber optic committee.
That's you, Munson.
You can come up too, Munson.
There's three of us now.
It's been a long time since you've been around, you know. We've missed you.
Yeah.
Well, your luck just changed.
Probably so.
We missed him too, right, Emily?
Yes,
Don't force
Well,
her.
she hesitated on that one.
I've been to one meeting. I missed you at that one.
Yes, you did.
At our meeting on Monday, February 22nd, 2 members of the committee, David Andrews and me, and 2 interested members of the public, Brandy Brow and Mark Polonis, attended. We met without a quorum because we had scheduled a conference call with Peter Roumanier and George Sadowski from Woodstock, Vermont, who are board members of EC Fiber, which is a consortium of 25 member towns in east central Vermont. EC Fiber is building a fiber optic network to deliver high-speed internet to every home, business, and civic institution in the region. We exchanged information about our respective projects. There were similarities and differences between Vernon and Woodstock. And I can say, well, the center of Woodstock is well covered by Comcast, and we are well covered by Fairpoint and Comcast. Because of that, there was very little interest in switching service there. In the southern, more rural area of Woodstock, the take rate was high enough to be able to build a fiber optic network there, the work for which has begun. When they heard that we are well covered by Comcast and Fairpoint, they said we would probably see very little interest from the public in switching to last mile technology. And they advised us putting out a request for information, an RFI, to see what companies would be interested in upgrading the service we currently have. George Sadowski, the next couple of days, sent me by email a copy of their RFI. We had already realized that our take rate would probably be low because we are so well covered. And this idea of an RFI to see if Comcast, Fairpoint, Silvernet, and others would be interested in upgrading was new to us. Probably not to you, but to us who were there. After the conference call ended, we discussed next steps, which included informally talking with a representative from Silvernet, reviewing the EC Fiber RFI, working on language on communications to be given to the Planning Commission to be added to the town plan, and further work in informing residents and businesses about last mile technology and its benefits for the town. At this point, we are down to 3 members, all of whom are sitting here tonight. David Andrews and Martin Langeveld resigned because they both have too many other things going on in their lives. We will miss them, we value their expertise and participation, and we'll keep them informed of our progress. In other words, they're still going to be copied on our emails. This past week, Munson Hicks and I met to discuss what he missed while he was out of town, as well as next steps. We have invited Mark Polonis to join the committee, and he has agreed. And so we're asking that the Select Board appoint Mark to the Fiber Optics Committee.
Can you spell his last name?
Palonis. He's a former VY employee,
Yes,
and he's already quite knowledgeable.
yes.
Well, I'm glad that you have some people that are interested. That's wonderful.
We would like a 5th member. We did talk to Mark Anderson tonight, and I think he's considering it, maybe?
He is, certainly, and the other part is, quite frankly, with the amount of work that we feel needs to be done, both a 5-member committee and adjunct members who are interested in volunteering and working on this project will be crucial. So Mark may not feel he has the time, but he said he was interested and will think about it, either as a member of the committee or
We can certainly keep him on our email copy list.
anyone who wants to be on our
Yeah.
email is more than welcome.
Brandy's on it also.
Now, Brandy, a new one, or she's been
No,
on it?
the reason she was interested is because, her house at the end of Bemis
Yeah.
is not covered, is not serviced by Comcast.
I believe it will be soon.
It will be
I
by
bet it
the
will
end.
be.
Per David Andrews, I think
David.
it will be pretty
So
soon.
do you need us to also appoint her as well?
No, she, doesn't wanna be appointed, but she does wanna
Keep
keep
working.
Oh, okay.
being, yeah, at least,
Yes, thanks to David, her
Yeah.
problem was
Yes.
is being
He
resolved.
did a wonderful job there, he did.
and, regarding that, which I know he informed you last month, your last meeting, I did some research in the town clerk's office for the select board meetings from 2003 to 2006. Mrs. Harris was the secretary, and I just consulted with her earlier tonight. I could find nothing that the select board signed in those years, a memorandum of understanding. So I don't know when it happened, but Sandy says it did happen. And another suggestion she had, because there may be other places in town, other homes or businesses or what, that don't have service, Mark Polonis up at the end of Basin Road doesn't have service, but
Right.
that's by his choice. I think the cable runs up there. So we have to, Sandy suggested we contact Comcast for a map of where they have coverage, where they have laid cable.
That's a great idea, and
We
I'm
can also-
really
but we
impressed
can
that you
also get
remember
that
back
from the
then,
state.
Sandy.
Long-term was not so bad.
We
We can
al-
also get that from the state. When we had the not Mark Porter,
Millennium?
somebody Porter from the state came down and
Oh,
had
Eureka?
Ed Porter, actually it wasn't him, but it was 2 of his assistants, came down and talked to the fiber optic committee last fall and showed us the maps of where Comcast, Fairpoint, and nothing are. So those
Yeah.
are
Was-
updated
What
by
was the company then, Time Warner?
AT&T was one of those too.
Well, before Fairpoint, it was AT&T.
I know, but I'm talking before Comcast.
Comcast?
Was Time Warner, I think, was it not?
I don't think there was one. I think the agreement was, because I remember
they were
up
coming
up-
in, but-
up where I lived in occupied Guilford,
Maybe it was
there-
just
it
Comcast.
took
Yeah.
7 years
Okay.
to get Comcast to agree to cover that. And with some help from then representative, we were able to sort of force them reluctantly to do it. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Back on topic, Munson recently
Back
heard.
on topic.
It is topic.
Get us back there, will you?
It's service, well, we want people in town to be serviced
Absolutely.
by this.
I thoroughly agree. Go ahead.
Munson recently heard from a representative from Fairpoint, who, he has spoken with her and will speak with representatives from Silvernet and Comcast. The Fairpoint representative wants to meet with us, and he's going to arrange that.
But I think I'll do, because she asked, is it possible that our committee meets during the day? I'm going to say that currently we don't meet, it's impossible to meet during the day and we're a little short-handed. But, so I would start the conversation with a phone call with her. She is the CEO of Fairpoint for Vermont. We all have our own opinions of Fairpoint, but since they have reached out to us, having heard of our initiative, that's a good thing.
I
And
think,
we will
well,
pursue it.
there's three of us who are retired.
Right,
Mark
right.
Polonis is retired, so perhaps we can,
Some more
but
flexibility.
that's down the road. When we meet next on April 25th, we will work on an RFI, which we will distribute to these companies as well as Millennium Matrix and others. And I don't know how you distribute an RFI, but we'll figure that one out. Munson will also write up new language for the town plan on communications to be submitted to the planning commission.
As per their request.
They asked for this. He's also submitted a letter of interest to the pilot phase of the USDA's Cool and Connected Planning Assistant Program on behalf of Vernon. Unfortunately, we were turned down because there was limited funding for a comparatively small number of communities.
This is a pilot project from U.S. Department of Agriculture about rural connectivity. It's basically no money involved, but in the same way that the WikiDip will provide resources to help a community. Just a little clarification before this gets lost in the process of the difference between coverage from Woodstock and EC Fiber. Ultimately, we are perfectly well covered for the now. But those of us on the fiber optic committee are more and more convinced that the economic development possibilities of having the town having true 1 gig fiber is a serious thing that needs to be thought of. That if we want to bring in business and we want to bring in new people with startup businesses or who want to live here because they are contemplating having online businesses and companies that want to attract people, it's going to be because of having true high-speed 1 gig fiber. I know some of you were at our presentation meeting earlier, and the important thing I think is, we're all covered for now. That's fine. I mean, except some of you who are still with Fairpoint. But if we are serious about economic development for the town and creating a place where businesses and people will want to be, then having 1 gig symmetrical fiber access is crucial for the town's development. And I think that's where my committee needs to act more strongly in order to make the people of the town understand that this is really about the future, not about the now.
And, representing Vernon on the Windham County Economic Development Program Advisory Council, WikiDip, ACK, I've seen a number of grant and loan applications from tech companies, startups and existing companies who are looking to this area, southeastern Vermont, to locate or relocate, and they want highly trained staff, and we have young people who are going through college and getting this training, and then they also want it. They see Vermont as an attractive place, lifestyle, skiing, et cetera. So people are coming and looking here. In fact, WikiDip is trying, and BDCC are encouraging and looking for ways to encourage more economic development. That's a Southeastern Vermont economic development strategy. And just one more thing, we are hoping that a communications task force will be one result of the Vermont Council on Rural Development community visit process. We feel that fiber to the home is vital for the future economic viability of Vernon. And it's my personal opinion that in order for Vernon to survive and thrive economically, we as a town have got to stop seeing ourselves as unique and see ourselves as part of the region. And look beyond our borders. It's for our own health, but that's me personally.
And I say we can get a jump on the rest of them. Everybody will eventually get there, but if we want the cream of the crop, the people who are going to want to be here, and the businesses that are going to want to either grow or begin, we need to provide them with these tools. It's a development, it's an investment in ourselves for our future.
Well, that was a great presentation, thank you very much, both of you. What's the board's pleasure?
I would like to make a motion to appoint Mark Polonis to the fiber optic committee.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No, good selection.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to appoint Mark Polonis on the fiber optic committee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really well done. Thank you very, very much. Great job, thank you.
You guys can come to our meeting on the 25th?
Is it 6 or 6:30?
6:30.
6:30.
But that's flexible.
I just wanted to get it into my calendar.
Yes, we want you there.
I'm gearing
Trying.
down on, this is
trying.
my last year volunteering or working for the town, so I'm gearing down.
Oh, go out with a splash.
No, I'm really tired, but thank you. These young people here at the table, of course Sandy's not, but
Excuse me, Chris? She forgets that she's younger than I am.
Younger than I am.
Younger than I am.
No, I'd love to go to meetings
And
like
younger
that.
than you.
The problem we've got right now is this, we're meeting like, how many nights a week for
yes,
this
Well,
election
They
process?
only,
Yes.
they do once a month.
yeah, they
Right,
only
right,
do it.
yeah.
It's the last month. Is it the last Monday
And
or
once
the
we
fourth?
hire this person,
It's the last one.
whoever
We'll
it
have
may
some
be,
more
then we'll
time.
have a lot of time. And
Sometimes
I'm
it
hoping, not a lot of
conflicts
time,
with the school,
A
but
little bit.
yeah, and I'm hoping, you know. All right, so we have several minutes, which are, all except the 21st or 22nd, which 21st was our regular meeting. All these other minutes.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I would just interject that I did provide Katrina with the minutes for the 23rd and the 29th, and I don't know why they don't appear on this list, but
Are they on the back?
I don't
They
know
are-
where they are.
I just realized.
Yeah, I think
they're
they
still- Oh, no.
The
I got the
23rd.
23rd here.
Oh, I had the
Didn't-
22nd and 23rd.
I was
All right, well, the
22nd,
29th I
23rd.
also provided her, and
Oh.
I don't see that here, but we can always pick that up next time.
and the 17th is here. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, they should put them on the back.
Yeah, I didn't see
sides.
them on the back at first.
Yep, okay,
Well, anyway, so.
yeah. So what's the board's pleasure? You can, if you, I would say you could go ahead and do all these, naming the dates that we had.
Make one
In one
excluding
motion.
motion.
I'm
Yes,
fine with all of them.
I move that we accept the minutes of the 21st, 15th, I'm sorry, I took it in order. The special meeting on the 14th, the special meeting on the 15th of March, the special meeting on the 17th and 18th of March, the 22nd and 23rd of March, the special meetings as written, and March 21st, regular meeting as written.
Second.
all right, any discussion? Did you find anything? No, yes?
No, I did not.
I didn't either. Okay, motion's been made and seconded to accept and approve minutes, the special meetings, which includes the 14th, 15th, 17th, 18th, 22nd, and 23rd, and the regular meeting, which is the 21st, as written. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Oh,
I hiccuped.
oh, well, bless you. Okay, so minutes are out.
Oh, I forgot about
I
that.
got it, didn't I?
You did,
Oh,
I was
I
just
just put the diamond.
redoing it.
Okay. Bills and warrants?
Yes, once I find my sheet here. Madam Chair,
Yes, Steve.
let me just get the language down here, wait a minute. Hang on, I'll have it in a second. All right, so, bills and warrants, where is that thing here? Here we go. I move that we pay the bills and warrants as provided in the handout, specifically the warrant 15-16.19, accounts payable $79,440.42, as well the payroll warrant 12S for $8,073.71, and the payroll warrant for 13S for $7,638.74.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve and pay warrants, the following warrants. 15-16.19, accounts payable in the amount of $79,440.42. 12S payroll, $8,073.71. 13S payroll, $7,638.74. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, glad we're moving along now. Okay, I need a motion to ratify the board chair having, receiving the keys for the foyer and for the hall door.
So move.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. Same way with the recycling committee, new appointments are Janet Rasmussen and Mary Lynn Sherwin.
Madam Chair, I move that we ratify the appointment of Janet Rasmussen and Marilyn Sherman to the Recycling Committee.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. And to ratify the Windham County Sheriff's fast check, it was because it was a week or so late, so they paid him with a fast check instead of him waiting for another week or two.
Yeah, I checked it this morning when I
Yeah.
was up there with Cindy.
It was due
and
then.
It was due, it just, she never received a bill, and she's
Right.
not sure why, and it never showed up, so.
Well, sometimes, I have to explain that before you make that motion. Sometimes what happens, it'll come to my box upstairs, because I've asked the town clerk, way back several months ago, not to open my mail because my mail was being opened upstairs,
I
and some of it was
understand. Yeah, I understand.
attorney bills, and,
Right.
and some of it, and that's fine, that's
Sure.
public record, but some of it wasn't, some of it was not bills, it was stuff that was for the board alone, and so I had to stop them from opening it, and that may have happened, I don't know. I didn't receive the bill, and I would have known because I've been up there and got my mail, but that's how sometimes it'll get late too. So, all right, I'll entertain a motion,
Madam Chair,
yes.
I move that we ratify the fast check for the Windham County Sheriff's Department.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Ayes have it. All right,
The point of information, Madam Chair.
Yes, sure.
This, as I understand it, this check was for essentially April 1st through June 30th.
it's a quarterly check.
But it's a paid upfront rather than at the end of.
Correct.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I saw that
Yes.
today when I was
Yeah.
reviewing the warrant. And there may be, I heard, just to know by the way, that there may be some issue regarding that with respect to recommendations from VLCT, not?
Yes and no. The recommendation was that we don't prepay like July to August, September.
Yes.
in June. You
Right.
don't wanna cross fiscal years. You wanna
Alright,
try to
okay.
keep the fiscal year separate.
That's what she was
Within the
mentioning.
fiscal year, it's
I
not really a
understand,
huge deal.
okay. But now,
But the
but the
recommendation,
new
yes.
contract is having monthly billing, so that wouldn't be an issue
Right, it won't be an
anymore.
issue.
Right, but it would still be, it
It would
may,
be
it
July
may
through-
mean that, and I'm sure that, vendors who are used to working with towns are probably familiar with, you know, if they issue an invoice, you know, for the month of July, and it's usually
Right.
paid a month ahead or whatever, you know, they might get that
Sure.
payment, the check might cut in July, which is later than they would like it to be, but
Yeah.
it's to keep the, just.
And I
Keep them in
perfectly
this,
fine
yeah,
with me. I just
proper
wanted
fiscal
to
year,
make
yeah.
that mention that something seemed to be changing.
No, that
I
was,
wanted
that
to
was it.
Mention that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All right, and we've already voted for that, okay.
Right, you have.
All right, so liaisons, do you wanna do them, or Sandy had come up with a great idea, that being that we're, well, I don't know, but being that we're gonna have a, town administrator soon, do you wanna let the town administrator be the liaisons? But, you know, I like that idea, but I kinda still, I really like being a liaison for the town office, I come in,
I think that's too much. I think
Yeah.
if the town administrator was to be the liaison for all of the committees, he or she would put in 40 hours a week in the evenings.
yeah.
Well, the reason I brought that up is because the last one did. If you had a problem, you went to Bunny.
Yeah, well, I think that they still should go to Bunny if they, like, say, I'm in here quite often, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, or more, depending. And if they have a problem, they call me, you know, or they do whatever, you know, and, but I've never run into a problem per se. I like coming in and talking with them and stuff like that. Any problems, any complaints, anything like that, I have kind of changed my strategy, as you well know, that, you know, if you have complaints, put it in writing, come to us.
If I might, my feeling on the subject is that I wouldn't want to dump that in that person's lap the first year. But what I would like to do is continue our current program that we have, and then if things look like that might be possible to move to subsequently, I think that would be perhaps something we could discuss. But I think it would be an overload to do that on someone just coming in here.
Okay, so how about if I suggest this, we all stay the same liaisons we've always had, except for Steve take over Josh's, Jeff's, not Josh's,
I
let
don't-
Josh keep his own.
Jeff, is this our list of?
Yeah,
I don't think Jeff really took any.
This
yeah,
isn't a-
Jeff had some.
This isn't a complete list, I don't think.
Well, and I don't know that Jeff took any. We just, when Mike resigned, we split up his.
Right,
And I would be happy to give some.
Well, I would like to.
yeah, cause there's only one.
I would
for
like
Steve.
to ask for the planning commission, pardon me.
Yes, Steve.
What did you were whispering something, what was it?
Never mind.
All right,
No,
you
please,
have,
no.
okay, Emily, you have, we're gonna disband the town administrator one, okay, cause you're on that anyway. The
Right,
tax
okay.
committee,
Where, okay.
tax committee, you're on, and that's all, you're not on so many as you try to claim to be on.
Recreation Board.
Well, that's,
Well, no, I-
she's
no, I know.
appointed to that by,
Well,
she's not a liaison.
The other thing that I took, and I feel bad saying this, the other thing that I think I took, and I volunteered for it when Mike left, was the fiber optic committee.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And
You'd rather not?
I never get there.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
And you
And
interested
I
in
think-
that?
I considering that I've also got nuclear decommissioning
Yes.
and also stream bank erosion and I just
Yeah.
feel
Okay, so
overwhelmed.
is the
Well-
planning enough for you then, the
Well,
planning and
it certainly
economic
would
development?
fill, well, if there's something else, but I know that the fiber optic committee wants to meet more frequently, and plus I really
You
don't.
don't have to go to every
I
meeting.
don't have a real expertise in that area.
Well, hold on, can I back up when it comes to the fiber optic committee? Well, Josh is listed as liaison, so I don't know how.
This list is not
Okay,
even close
well-
to being correct.
Yeah,
The
you know
way-
what, this was
well-
like 2 or 3 years ago here,
Well,
was it not?
I don't know, but the,
Yeah, this was in
the
our
way
list.
that the fiber optic committee is set up is I'm actually a sitting member on the committee. I'm not the liaison. And I think that's just because Mike was on it you know, he's a technology guy, so I think he kinda helped,
Yeah.
created that and everything, so when he resigned, we had to fill that, so
Yeah.
I took it.
Yeah.
But I don't have the knowledge really or the desire to be on the committee the way that Mike did. So what I would recommend is that if you find, Bronna, if you find that you have an abundance of volunteers, I would rather take a liaison role as opposed to an actual member. Even though it says Josh is the liaison, we can duke that out in the parking lot if you want, but you know, I mean, if you get, I don't wanna say I wanna come off it, but I just, you know, I can't commit to what you guys need.
Well, Josh
So,
has a good, healthy one there with the fire department and the fire wardens,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and I've never been on the fiber optic committee, so I don't know, or
Yeah,
as a
okay.
liaison to that committee,
So
so
we'll let
I'm
her
not
be
really
a-
sure where
Well,
that came
plus,
from.
would it help you? I have a fair amount of farm experience.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to take the farmland committee.
Oh, good,
That's
okay.
perfectly fine.
Where did he find that? I saw it.
Last last
Yes, I got
page
it.
there,
All right, so
yeah.
we'll put Steve there. All right, Sandy, elderly assistance, okay? Sandy, okay with the cemetery?
I'm on those committees.
I know,
So-
but,
Yeah, I'm okay.
okay. And recycling and seniors?
I wouldn't mind giving up the recycling.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
I
That's
mean, I
more-
like, they're a cool group, but I have like 12.
That's more
Well,
me anyway.
that's good, because I think, you know, now with the new members and everything, with different thoughts and different ideas, we're gonna get, you know, this time when we ask them to report, we'll get a good report. I think there was just, they were like, you know, they couldn't keep up with the amounts because it changes every day, every week, so it's somewhere every week, whatever, so.
Are there other committees that are missing from here?
I don't know. I don't know. And I guess I'm the police, let's see, nuclear decommissioning, that's Steve.
Well, I'm the member, I mean, I'm.
No, we already named you. We got your number,
Right,
girl.
you do.
Yeah, we got your number, for sure.
That's likely to heat up in the upcoming year. You may see some more press releases.
All right, now town service officer was always Mary Lynn. But it's not mentioned here.
What is it?
Well, you know, if somebody's in need, they might call the town clerk would give it over to Mary Lynn. Now, I will tell you that Mary Lynn was called one time, that I know of, because she called me in on it as well, as chairman, so I went with her and we helped this woman. So I don't mind if you want me to be liaison to that.
And Mary Lynn be the.
And Mary Lynn is the town service officer, so I don't mind taking that on. It was actually very interesting and Mary Lynn's very caring to people, and I
She's very.
really was impressed with how she treated this person.
She is amazing.
She is amazing. Okay, so, and then Josh, of course, is fire warden as well. And that should do it, correct?
So,
Just for awareness, we do have 2 slots on Windham Regional Commission. We only have 1 person currently, and
Windham Regional, now, isn't that Bob Spencer? Is it?
he used to be, but he
Oh, it's
resigned
Munson,
a
that's
couple
right.
of years ago. Munson's.
Okay, but we have Janet that's an alternate there, because I know one of them, Janet, is an alternate.
Well, the thing
She
is
doesn't want to be a second person.
I know, we've got, if we can get our foot in the door there, we often times can get things turned around before that group takes a position, which they have in the past, and unfortunately have slighted Vernon significantly, and I just,
Would you like to be?
no, I can't really.
I know.
But the thing is that if we could find someone in the community that would be willing to serve as Munson's
You
doing.
go in there with great knowledge.
Well, but the problem is I just don't have the time.
I know, I
You know
understand
what I'm
that,
saying?
Steve, I do.
Yeah. Maybe once the administrator gets selected, but right now, it's just too crazy here.
Yeah.
There's too many things. Plus,
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn this job, which is more difficult than I thought it would be. Well, no, that's not exactly true. But
More
it's certainly,
challenging.
it's certainly, well, it has expanded since
And it's
last,
a lot of work,
remember I was
yes.
here in in May through
For a measly
June. and
1900,
It has
right?
expanded.
Yeah. So we all set with that? We're gonna, now the only changes, Katrina, would be, Steve, no, Steve was there. Me as liaison to Mary Lynn, as town service officer.
And I took the farmland
Why does she
committee.
need one?
Um,
I mean.
Only just an alternate to call, I suppose.
Well, no, you are automatically alternate.
I mean,
So you don't need
like,
one? Okay.
The health officer doesn't have one, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just
and she's
wondering.
the health officer as well.
No,
Oh, no,
isn't that Mark
that's
Snow?
Mark Snow.
Yeah.
So I just was curious.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
I'm
fine.
asking.
All right, and Steve on farmland, Emily on fiber optic, Steve on planning and economic, and Emily on recycling, and those are the only changes, right? Okay. That sounds wonderful. I can't believe we went through that so fast. One way to do it. All right, next up is the cemeteries caretaking contract. Now, is this a 2-year contract, Sandy? Don't we do 2 years now, or do we do 3-year contracts? I don't know. Oh, the agreement will begin April 1st, 2015, and end November 1st, 2017. Why are we doing it now then? Or do you mean April 1st, 2016?
This is really hard to even read this one.
It
Do you
is.
have a clean copy there?
I have,
No, yours is the same.
no, I've got the same. No, I have the same all the way through.
Who provided us this?
This here,
Yeah.
I don't know, Katrina put it in our packets, but I don't think she provided it.
Can we table this until next?
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
to have a clean copy.
Well, we're having a meeting, tomorrow afternoon, right?
Sandy, what is the thing you're referring to? Because I'm not sure what the nose.
The caretaker
looks like.
agreement.
The caretaker's agreement. It was last in your packet.
Oh.
Your packet
The
goes.
packet today?
Yes,
I mean,
your
yes.
packet goes right in
Oh,
order.
that was
It's a contract.
additions.
Oh,
Here.
the packet that we
Here,
received.
here's an extra copy.
Oh, wait, I may have it, I just
Here.
haven't found it yet, thank you. Oh, thank you.
You're as bad as I am with paperwork.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just really,
all right. I
Yeah,
did
we
get
don't
one
wanna-
piece of cemetery.
all right, so we're
I don't
going
wanna sign
to,
something
So
that goes
if
back
it was
here.
signed
Right.
April 1st, 2015 by the previous board, which I don't
I don't
recall
remember
it
doing that.
happening, but
I don't either.
No.
Because if it's 2 years, then,
then we're already in the middle of the contract, why are we signing?
right.
Right.
Unless
Check
it
with the
starts, yes, unless it starts April 1st, 2016, and goes to,
November 1st.
for 2 years, it would be 2018, November 1st. So,
no, it'd be the 16 summer and the 17 summer. It'd be 2 years.
Oh, it would?
Yep.
Okay, so that's probably what that
I
means,
think
that
that's what it
should be.
means, so.
But that's
Oh,
not
I
what it
know what
says.
happened. I do remember Katrina saying she typed it over. Was this what she typed over?
But we
I don't
can
know,
sign
but it
this
doesn't
one,
matter.
so.
It's tabled
That
till next
that
week.
isn't even,
Till next
you know,
meeting.
don't even
Well,
matter, but,
Katrina, figure it out and let us know.
yeah. Okay, well, you, okay. And so we'll put that on for, April 18th, meeting as well, okay?
Yes.
It's up to me
All
now.
right, so you're on.
So, Mr. Walker had called me a couple weeks ago, 'cause Josh and I think we had talked with David about the Vernon tree lighting that Josh and I have done the last 2 years. The tree that we've been using is like the only evergreen on town property in a central place that was even possibly doable. And that tree is dying. It's not healthy. It's very large for what we're trying to do. I mean, we have to borrow a bucket truck.
I've been to the top of that tree, it's up there.
Yeah, but the tree itself is not really that healthy either. I mean, if you look at it in the summertime, when it should be, nice and full, it's really not that healthy. So, what I would request is, one, that we get permission to take that tree down. And the second,
We would give that permission.
that's why I am bringing it to
Okay.
you.
She's bringing it to you as the Vernon Tree Lighting Committee.
Yes.
You said get permission, so I'm
Well-
like, where are you gonna go get it?
Right here,
Okay.
I'm here to get permission,
Doesn't the
Um,
tree warden come into that somewhere?
yes.
Yes.
Which is David Walker.
Oh, all right.
How convenient.
Yeah.
So one step is to get permission to take that tree down. The second is, we would like to replace it with a semi-mature tree so that we can do a tree lighting this year, and not on a little Charlie Brown 3-foot tree. Dave looked up from the nursery that,
Me too.
we can get one of those too. Dave went through a nursery that he's used in the past, and he said he could get an 8 to 10 foot balsam fir for $350.
Oh, that's not bad.
I had no idea. So, and he said that he would be willing to use that out of his tree warden money.
Oh, what a nice guy.
Yeah.
What a nice guy.
Did
That
he,
is
he
wonderful.
suggested the removal of the current tree, right? That didn't come from our committee, that came
Yeah.
from David as a tree warden,
Wow,
because of its ill state.
Well, Madam Chair,
yes.
I would make the motion that we instruct our tree lighting committee here to go for that and thank David.
Okay. I need a second.
Second.
Right. Motion's been made and seconded to have the tree warden take down the dying pine tree over there and replace it with an 8 to 10 foot
Balsam fir.
balsam fir.
Just a question on the replacement.
Just a minute, I gotta
All right.
get the motion out
All
first.
right.
And was that the balsam fir and,
With the money's coming from the tree warden.
okay, thank you. All right, any discussion?
Yes,
Go ahead.
the current tree is dying, and usually trees die for a reason. There's something wrong there, because, I mean, some of these firs get huge. I know the two on my
Oh,
mother's
that
lawn.
bug there, that,
Well, it could be a
Aphid.
bug, there could be something in the soil that it finally ran into. Is where it's located currently where you want to put the new tree?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
We haven't really discussed the location of the new
Okay,
tree,
would there be a
so-
better location? The reason I mention this is before you just go dig a hole and stick it in where the old tree was, sometimes trees die because something is going on down below that they don't like.
and
you
that's a
want-
pretty old tree too, it should
Well,
be,
yeah,
right?
well, you want to be careful about just automatically sticking it back in the same hole if you suspect there
well,
might be an
not the same
environmental
hole,
issue.
but I mean,
Well, no,
yeah,
but, you know,
I
proximity.
don't know,
Vicinity.
yeah, I mean, I was thinking the same, I mean, having the gazebo right there is really nice, but I don't know. And maybe I
on the
should talk
other
with
side of it or
Kevin or
something,
David, like, cause I'm not sure where the town's property ends and like the field and
Well,
then
there- yeah,
the
that's a
apartment
good
building,
point
I don't
too,
know what
sure,
direction I
yeah.
am pointing
Yeah,
in here.
that'd be good.
Well, it's the
Would know that.
driveway.
Yeah.
That dirt driveway is basically the town's property line, on the apartment side.
Oh, okay, the one that goes to the back.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, I mean, exactly where, but in the same vicinity, cause having the gazebo is
Yeah,
really nice.
I would just suggest that you
Yeah.
keep that in mind when you're selecting a spot,
That's a good thought.
just so we don't have that little tree go down the Mary
Why don't you
Road.
ask the extension service to come down and test the soil before you put it in?
Well, that would be something I would, and I think you could get that done for very little or free
Yeah.
almost, yeah.
The extension service.
UVM.
Mhm,
Oh.
yeah.
David would probably.
Actually,
know.
that would be a good
Probably.
idea
I'll
to do
just-
before you take the old tree out, because they may be able to look at it and say, oh, that thing is dying because of whatever, and then you'll know if it's a bug, or if it's an environmental issue, or if it just, you know, it's decrepit.
Yeah, and the reason why I said, because it's a pretty old tree, I mean, it's not like 100, but, it's an older tree, and for it to just, if
I
it's an
know,
all of a
I
sudden
know,
thing,
I
there
know, yeah.
might be something like I
Well,
said.
it's been declining, I mean,
Oh, has it?
over the last couple of years that I've watched it in strung lights on the gigantic.
Yeah,
thing.
you've seen it right up close
It's-
and personal.
I have, and I'm not a fan of heights.
No, I
So-
don't blame
Is
you.
is it the tree that's there, is it a balsam fir, or is it something different?
No, it is.
No, that's a northern pine, is it
Yeah,
not?
it's a scrap pine, it's,
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, all
Or
right. I
Scotch
thought it
pine,
was
whatever
a
you call it,
fir.
something like that.
All right, I got
no,
you.
no, it's definitely
Alright.
not a fir tree, it's,
Well, Yeah, I understand, and it could be just the tree itself then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll mention it to David when I call him.
All right, motion's on the table. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm gonna abstain, I don't know why.
You don't need to.
Okay, then
I mean, it's not like, you
I mean,
know,
there's no money involved.
you're not gonna
or-
get any
well,
money for
really,
it,
Right,
so
I know,
you-
but
you
it's
don't
me
need to
asking for
abstain.
it, so I feel,
no,
okay.
you're fine. Motion carried. Public participation, agenda items, anyone? Rhonda's hiding herself, so. All right, correspondence, I have none, unless somebody else does.
We have some that Trina's left us.
Oh, that's.
We do? Oh, yes, that's right.
It's kind of pretty like, wow.
That's
Yeah, I
right, I'm
got-
sorry.
Got my attention too, you know.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
And I believe the Schedule A, specifications and caretakers' responsibilities goes with the contract.
Yeah.
And the
Caretaking
should be-
contract.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
I thought they were
But is this,
separate.
is this, okay, yeah. Yeah, the caretaker's responsibility. Okay, I didn't get a chance to read this.
Is this a letter from the liquor control you're discussing?
Yes.
Okay, I read it.
Okay, and I wonder how come the chairperson, Chris Hadner, got this? No, I did get it, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, and then, of course, we get the,
Sheriff's.
yeah, the sheriff's, these were all in February, and I stuck them in her box, so, I did see them. I opened them and I put them in her box to bring them.
Thank you.
I was afraid to get them so late. I told her the box was full. Overrun, by the way. And then, the sheriff's, thing, but then there's, Vermont Leagues of Cities in Town. Is that something anybody would be interested in?
Well, I don't know, can we just, are we gonna?
Oh, you wanna go back to the,
Well, I was reading it, skimming it. I mean, do we need, it doesn't look like we need to do
we
anything.
don't need to do anything. No, that's just letting us know what has happened.
Okay,
Well, we just acted on this license, what, last
well, but
meeting?
it doesn't
Doesn't have
expire
anything to do.
until
May
later,
1st.
was it?
I
I think it's May 1st.
Okay,
So we don't have any supervisory control over that, having issued that license?
No.
Okay.
This is within their business, it doesn't have anything to do with what we did.
No.
But I think they let us know in case,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know that you had to get training.
Oh, yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I've been a bartender, well, used to be a bartender for years.
well,
You
it
know,
might,
that
years
is
and
why-
years ago.
And that is why they put in that everybody has to be trained now.
You know what, she got me back. She never does that. I think that's
Well done.
good one, Sandy.
There's a-
good.
And
That's
I
really
can
good, too. I
on a
liked
s-
it.
On a serious note, I can understand the importance of
Oh,
that
yeah.
too, because
Oh, yeah.
especially, and remember, in this town, we've already been told that there's a high incidence, higher than average incidence
Yeah,
of DUIs.
Yeah.
And if we're issuing a license, we need to know on that end that it's being
Well, I'm
carried out,
sad that,
right.
you know, just over something, you know, as a little bit of an education, that, why would you overlook that?
Well, I don't know, but
Human
I'm
nature.
not sure. And I
No.
suppose that's by, and anyone makes mistakes, but
I mean,
it's
of
certainly of interest to the select board, I think, that
Too bad.
we stay on top of that kind of thing. Because after all, it's not just an isolated thing. We actually are told by our police force that, you know, we have a higher incidence of these issues.
I know.
And
Yeah,
this
but it's good
this
to have
feeds
a good
directly
watering
into
hole
that.
in town. You know?
well,
Well, I'm not suggesting it isn't, Chris. I'm just saying that when, you know, someone's had enough, apparently this training helps them to understand how to determine that.
Oh, you know what we used to do? You've had enough, you're shut off, end of
Well,
story.
yeah, I
You
know,
know?
I don't know. I don't know, maybe that's not what the training is.
Well,
I don't know.
That's what I just.
Maybe
I-
it's to pick out younger fake
No.
cards or something. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just wondering, you know, I mean,
Not younger
he
than she is.
puts a consequence in there and is revoking their liquor license essentially for the day, or suspending, sorry. So I just didn't know, like, if we were supposed to do anything.
Yeah.
with
No,
that,
it's interesting that now the owner, director, partner, or manager is also required to attend the seminar.
Well, it said
Oh,
they
so
have to do
yes.
it every 2 years. or
Yeah,
whatever,
they
but-
do
But
it.
within 60 days, they have to
Yep.
make a copy. On this knowledge wave thing, it's something we might want to, personally, I think we might want to consider. It's, you can register up to 10 named users for the $75, it looks like. And with the new administrator, if they're not from Vermont, they might appreciate getting onto one of these webinars.
Yeah.
But I don't think it needs to be
But
taken
it
up
doesn't
right
have,
now.
yeah, it doesn't have an end
No.
date for registration or anything, so. Yeah, that's good, something that we need, we would need. I was gonna say something else and I totally forgot about it. Went right in one ear and right out the other.
I'm gonna be quiet on that.
Stop it, Sandra.
I wanna make a motion.
Not yet. We still got, oh no, we have media, no media. Are we done with the
Well,
correspondence?
I wanted to ask about this, this Entergy thing here. Was that, is it normal that you get these lists here?
Yes, I get a lot of them.
You do?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
every wave.
Every,
They
yeah,
send
everything
I
they
see,
do, yeah.
okay.
We're very good about that.
Go ahead, Josh.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Wow, before 9, I promised that we would be out by 9. I was going to close it down.